Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And in my tool shopping in the used market, I stumbled across a set of three electronics pliers. And these two here are Jensen's. And Jensen, it's an interesting brand. I think it's now owned by the Stanley conglomerate, whatever that's called. Stanley Black & Decker, I guess. But it used to be a classic for the telecom industry, or early computers, telephones, photocopy fixing. You know, kind of the people that I consider the ones that carry their tools in a briefcase. You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, Jensen is like the go-to tool for that. And I was kind of happy. I didn't have any Jensens, and I love the small size. This is actually known as a semi-flush cut, meaning it's, I guess, almost a flush cut, not quite a flush cut. Close enough, I don't know. But anyway, good solid tools, USA made. This is the 003. This one's the 007, which is just their kind of standard small non-cutting needle nose. They have bright colored handles. All the Jensen tools seem to be quite colorful, which is great. Easy to find, easy to tell them apart, especially in your briefcase. But anyway, they're a popular tool for the people who want them. You know, I guess not the automotive crowd and not the microelectronics crowd, that in-between group. But when I look at them close, I can see they're not quite perfect. You know, the way the jaws close, there's a little bit of space there. And in fact, you usually don't need it because there's usually an obstruction there, which is whatever you're grabbing. But not quite what I was used to when I was working with snap-ons. Spring-loaded, thin vinyl grips, vinyl dip grips. And they sell for, I guess, around 25 bucks, something like that. Not giving them away, but they're not cheap. Or they're not expensive, you know, compared to Snap-on, where you're probably getting into the 45 or something for something like that. The third thing that I picked up, so I got these two, is this guy here. And this is as you can see that it's an Xcelite, I think is how you say that. It's sometimes known as a Weller Xcelite. And this is the TC55. Again, it's a kind of a precision needle nose, tons of space up there in the front end. And that's because it's got cutters, centered cutters right down the jaws of this thing. You can see right here and right here, there's a little cutting platform. And that's what it closes on. So these are kind of called tip cutters. They're also electrostatic discharge safe, and that's because they've got a little thicker handle. Not quite as thick as the Snap-ons, or as spongy as the Snap-ons, but definitely more than the vinyl dips of the Jensens. Anyway, it fit well in your hand. Spring-loaded again. Looks like good solid metal. Maybe stainless steel. I was thinking of, you know, kind of similar to my ESD Knipex here, but you can see, you know, just once you start playing with them, kind of a quality difference, a precision machining difference. But anyway, back to these guys. What I like about them is that tip cutter. In a previous video, I've talked about some of the different wire strippers that I use, and I really liked this one because I could get in and I could trip or snip a wire with the tips rather than having to squeeze it back up near the pivot either there or here, like on a lot of wire strippers. So I can literally get right out there and snip that. So it's kind of neat to be able to explore a precision needle nose with a tip cutter rather than having to, you know, slide this whole mechanism over. Sometimes there's not enough room, you know, the wire harness or whatever's holding it too tight. So, you know, you want to just get in and cut it with a very small area. It's still not at the tip, but then that would defeat the purpose of a needle nose. And then you'd want to go with something like that to snip it. But anyway, I didn't know a whole lot about the brand until I started exploring it, especially the you know, the Jensen brand, like where are they now? But it's a classic old school brand for kind of a narrow segment of the electronics world. And kind of same with the Xcelite. brand. A lot of small screwdrivers, a lot of small kind of precision pliers, small wrenches, things like that. But anyway, as I build out my tools, it's fun to study the brands too, especially if it's one that I don't come across too often. Kind of have to order them online. Anyway, hope you found that helpful. So with that, Doc out.